knows the ACT. Everybody knows the SAT. I have a reservoir of tutors for both of those that I've vetted and trust and seen great results with. But they've now added a third test called the CLT. And the CLT is a test that's been used for years, but traditionally it was used for home education students who didn't want to go that classic route of the ACT or the SAT. And while that was great, it wasn't widely accepted by most colleges. Now, Florida has accepted it as part of their graduation requirements, and so most Florida state schools are accepting that test as well. So again, something to think about at least by your sophomore year, because you want to prepare for those tests. The PSAT in 10th grade, every kid will get, is a good baseline for the SAT. But there is no like pre-ACT being offered. The ACT is reportable the second you take it. So it's important that you take it to get a baseline to know how much prep can I do. Now, speaking about prep, don't think you don't have to do anything and then you'll be able to recover your score just by taking a prep class. The typical raise in score in a prep class, to use ACT as an example, is about 4 to 5 points. So if you're trying to get a 10-point jump, that is going to be a hard, if not impossible stretch. Is it impossible? No, but I can tell you in 25 years, I've never seen it happen. SAT, a typical prepared jump is 200 points. 300-400 is very, very rare. So keep that in mind as you take that baseline exam to understand what your kids, like, even if they prepare, even if they take an intense class, what they can look at for a jump in that exam. Generally speaking, kids are either better at the ACT or the SAT. They just do better on one of those. I know there's this like rumor going around that the ACT is easier, but in my experience, I have not seen that. The ACT has a science component, and so if you don't have a science-minded kid, that's going to bring down their composite score. The SAT is just 2 sections. 2 sections of verbal and math. So when you're preparing, you only need to kind of prepare for 2 things, language and math. Whereas the SAT, it has other components. It has 4 sections, and now you have to prepare for that or it's going to pull down your overall grade. The CLT is similar to the SAT. It only has those 3 sections. The one cool thing about the CLT is it's only 2 hours, so it's the shortest one, and you can take it at home. And that is like huge for a lot of kids, because going into the testing environment, like if you have a kid who's at Nice and they have to go test at PV, they don't even know where to walk. They're already stressed out by the time they sit down for the test. The CLT, you're taking it right there in the comfort of your own home on a computer you're familiar with, and it takes a little bit of that test anxiety away if you have a test anxious kid. So just keep that in mind when considering it. We don't have a ton of data. Like I could spout out figures for days on kids with ACT and SAT and how much they improved in the courses they did. Because the CLT is so new, we don't have a lot of data, or I personally don't, on how kids improve over time with that. So you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit there, but I think the comfort of it is a huge factor. There aren't a lot of prep courses for CLT, so that's like a downside if you want your kid to take a prep course. So all these things are something to consider as you're choosing one of your tests. All of these are reportable the second you take it, with the exception of the PSAT. And sometimes if you're a senior and you're just trying to graduate, there's a SAT and ACT non-reportable version, but your school has to administer that. That's not something you can select.